The new near me.
Give everyone a minute to jump in here and get settled, and then we'll get kicked off. Should have planned some music. Sarah, are you a good singer?
Come on, Sarah.
No? Okay.
Or a joke. Maybe a good joke.
I don't have any good ones. That's okay. Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today for our webinar. We're really excited to kind of talk about the new near me, AI, and your digital presence and how it's reshaping how homeowners find your business. We have some audience participation that's going to come up, so I'm going to drop a link in the chat that's for that piece of it. There will also be a QR code that you can see to join that. So you can just either from your computer or your phone, you can scan this QR code. We just have like a couple easy, fun questions to take care of throughout. So no pressure, but it's a fun little piece of it. So to get things kicked off before we introduce our panelists, I wanted to see what's one word to describe how you're feeling today. Give me the vibe, um, so that we can see how everyone's doing. And it looks like people still need some time to get in there. So
That's cool.
yeah, it's fun.
I like this. I've not seen this feature before. It's awesome.
He does this every time. It's so fun.
Gives you a good baseline. Okay, we'll give another minute. Looks like people are, oh, we've got some people just going in the chat, motivated, driven,
Let's go.
fine. So, okay, we'll
Love
jump
it.
in. Oh, I don't know why these pictures turned out so blurry. Sorry about that. That's okay. Wanted to give our panelists a quick minute to introduce themselves. We've got Josh Hembry here and Sarah Gerardo. So, Josh, do you want to jump in? Tell us a little bit about you, your business, and where you're located.
Yeah. Well, hey, my name is Josh Hembry with Hembry Heating and Air. I'm in Mobile, Alabama. So if you're familiar with the state at all, we're down at the very bottom in a very cooling focused climate. It's hot down here most of the year. I'm the third generation of my family to do this heating and air conditioning company. I'm an attorney by trade, said no to the family business for a long time, and then came back a few years ago to help my dad retire. Since then, I enjoy growth. I enjoy challenges, and I'm very driven. And I like to push myself to do new things. So I took the reins of a company doing about $700,000 a year, very simplistic in how we operate. And over the past few years, we've systemized everything, and we have a top line revenue of now over 6.5 million. Not that money is everything, but that money is the result of the improvement of our operations. So it's been a great journey, and we're not done yet.
Awesome. Thanks, Josh. Sarah?
Yeah, I'm Sarah Gerardo. I'm the Director of Marketing Pro at Service Titan. I come from the trades, have been working in marketing for well over 20 years, and in the trades for over 11. So I am here my passion is AI, and yeah, I'm just excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And I'm Andrew Adams. I'm the Director of Partnership Marketing at Scorpion. So I work really closely with Sarah. I get to hang out with some of our customers like Josh, and working together on our partnership efforts, which has been awesome. So, really quick, before we jump into the content, I wanted to give Josh a second to talk about something he did this weekend with his team. That's a really great marketing opportunity. So, Josh, will you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So I'm always looking for new creative ways to be involved in our community because I want to be a blessing to our community. I want to use our resources to make our community a better place. And then sometimes that can also give a side of benefit of being good PR, basically being a good marketing experience. So we came up with this idea to partner with our local animal shelter. And then we got our local radio stations to promote it. And we had an event to where all day on Saturday, any dog or cat that was adopted, Hembry Heating and Air paid all the adoption fees. And so we pumped it out to our community, had a big party, got dozens and dozens of dogs and cats adopted, and had a wonderful experience. It was a great win because we helped the shelter out. You know, they had an abundance of animals, so we helped them out. We helped out families to get their new fur babies, you know, their dogs or cats. But then also, we had a secondary benefit of we spread this reputation around our community that Hembry cares and that we want to use resources to give back. So it was just a fun, feel-good community event.
Did you adopt a dog or a cat?
Look, I did not, but I helped a
Okay.
lot of people adopt dogs and cats.
Hey, that's so good. You're strong in that moment. I'm proud of you.
My kids were there too. It was a challenge, but we stood
Yeah.
strong.
Awesome.
I
Okay,
love
we're going to
that.
talk about a few different topics today. Kind of first off is navigating the evolving search landscape. We built this webinar and this conversation around a recent study that Scorpion just did, where we surveyed 2,000 homeowners and 1,000 business owners to get their take on a variety of home services related topics, AI, marketing, response rates, etc. So we're going to dive into a lot of data points and a lot of different topics as we go through this today. So I'm going to ask everyone to bust out their trusty Mentimeter again for those who scan the QR code, or you can scan it again as well. Looking to see what percentage you think of homeowners that use AI tools for business recommendations.
It's across the board. Look at that.
hmm Give it one more second, see if some other people chime in. Okay, lots closer, 60, 70. The actual answer was 22% said they were using AI tools for business recommendations in this survey we did. So a lot lower than people expected, but I think a growing percentage nonetheless. Um, Sarah, you said AI was your passion. I know you spend a lot of time tinkering with AI, learning about it. So, as this applies to marketing, what should businesses be doing to ensure they're showing up in search engines, AI search engines?
Yeah. Talking about AI and search, it changes like by the second of search. So, disclaimer for anyone that learns search and AI, it's going to change. But in reality, we're moving from a search world to a selection world. When we think about it, it's no longer just a homeowner typing into Google. It's AI agents researching, comparing, and recommending businesses on their behalf, right? So, what businesses should be doing right now is preparing to be understood by machines, not just found by humans. That means structuring your data so your AI knows exactly who you are and what you do, building continuous proof through reviews, job outcomes, customer experience, and creating content that answers the real questions, not just promote services. So it's about answering the questions. Like I think a lot of people think content is like one piece, and it's not. It has so many places because it can become a service page, a FAQ page, a review response, a social post, a training asset, because I want you to think that in the future, AI will pull everything you've ever created and decide whether to recommend you. So we no longer think in campaigns, we don't think in keywords, we think in content systems that will help compound and structure for the agent experience.
Love that. One thing that sticks out to me, and Sarah and I have had this AI search conversation going on probably 3 years now. So we have been talking about this for a really long time, and there are always changes to it. And it's changed drastically over the years. But this, I think the fundamentals have still remained the same of like making sure that you have the content that is going to be found by these AI search engines and ensuring that that's there. And there's going to be lots of noise and a lot of different things. Google will change stuff, et cetera. But the foundation of providing the information that people are searching for so that it can be found is really the baseline. No matter what, that's not going to change.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, Josh, we also asked business owners a similar question to kind of see how they felt, right? So, we asked them um, if they felt prepared for AI driven search or how to prepare, right? And 80% said they are unsure of how to prepare for AI search visibility. So, do you feel the same way? And kind of what are you doing to kind of make sure that Hembry is at the forefront of this?
Yeah. I mean, overall, I do feel similar, right? We're all in similar situations, living similar lives, just in different parts of the nation, because there's not a clear path to it yet. However, I have, from what I've studied and read and talked with our team at Scorpion here, there's value in sure, make sure your website is optimized, all the words are there and done properly, but also try to be other places too. Be on Yelp, be on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever you can do. You try to get on your local Chamber of Commerce websites and just have your name mentioned. Because then, from my understanding, these AI sources are going to pull from all these things. And as they see your name popping up in various avenues, it almost like creates this image that you are the authority.
Yeah. And I think the dog adoption event is a good example of
Yeah, perfect.
someone might search, I need an HVAC company, but I want them to like be involved in the community, right? And then it could be like
Wow.
Henbury Heating
Yeah.
and Air.
Yeah.
So
That's huge.
every
Yeah.
It can
yeah,
also
every
be a
little
great
facet.
PR opportunity,
Hmm.
right? So like think about PR and Quora and like the distribution, like you said, it's diversification.
Hmm.
And understanding that what once may have been like a very dominant Google play is it's rethinking that just a little bit
Right.
as we evolve.
Right.
Yeah. So one of the things that I find exciting about marketing, and also one of the hardest parts about marketing, I think, is that you are talking to a lot of different people, different age groups, different search preferences. So you have young homeowners relying on some channels while older homeowners are relying on others. So, Josh, how do you kind of make sure that you're tackling every type of customer that's
Yeah.
coming to your business and making sure you're adapting to what each of them wants?
Yeah. This is a great question because I spend time thinking about this. It really boils down to the one word that Sarah just said, diversification. Because different demographics are living in different areas of where they basically receive their queries. And so, yes, I do still believe that Google's still the king. The majority of our leads come through Google when people are searching for the demand of the moment. However, we have found great success in putting ourselves in various community pockets. So, for example, we advertise on multiple different radio stations. Why? Because each radio station has a different section of listeners. We advertise on different TV stations. We're doing OTT, which is internet streaming, and then we're able to target demographics of what we want to target through that internet streaming commercials. So that is there. Then we do a robust amount of community involvement in various sections of our community because, for me, I'm a heating and air conditioning company. Heating and air conditioning does not know social bounds. Like everybody is going to have an air conditioner, and so we want to make sure we're in as many different rooms as possible.
That's awesome. Um, and I think that plays a big role in AI search too, of how
Mhm.
those people may be looking for specific things, how you respond, how you interact with customers, etc. Sarah, did you have something to say? I saw you come off mute.
No, I was just coming off mute now. I think
Okay,
AI will bring personalization, right? And that is what we are all going for as marketers and as business owners is to understand the persona that each customer really is and develop a strategy for us to continue to win their business.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah.
I love that. Another thing that's critical in AI search and business today is reputation and reviews. As part of that survey, we asked questions about reviews. One of the findings we found was 87% of homeowners said they won't consider a business that's rated under 4 stars. So, Sarah, I know you do a lot with Marketing Pro and reviews and just reputation reviews overall. So, what should businesses be doing to be getting reviews? How often do they need them? Give us all the secrets.
Yeah. So reviews are incredibly important, right? They're like content gold. They can be repurposed, they can be restructured, and they are the authenticity of the brand. So really, it's decision data is when you think about reviews, and uh, it's not just like the way that search and AI is reading your reviews is really saying, okay, they're analyzing what are you good at, how consistent are you in getting the reviews, and whether customers trust you. And the goal is not just to get way more reviews, it's to build a continuous stream of feedback that reinforces your reputation over time. So the businesses that win don't leave reviews to the chance. They operationalize them, right? It's about consistency. So that means automating the review request after every job, sending a follow-up email, triggering them at the right moment, following up consistently. So Marketing Pro helps this by embedding it into your workflow so it happens automatic magically is what I say. But remember that you're not really just there to collect reviews, you're building a data set that trains how your business is perceived and recommended. So
Yeah.
that's what I would say. Um,
If I
Perfect.
if I may jump in here, Andrew,
yeah.
Please do.
all those things plus
Yes.
motivate your teams, your
Yes.
technicians. If my technicians are not motivated to ask for the review, as great as the automation is, because we have Marketing Pro too, and as great as all it is, usually it's that paired with my technician having a face-to-face request and ask. That's how
Yep,
we,
there are lots of ways to
yeah.
ask, right? You could put a QR code on a dot card. There are,
Hmm.
and it is rewarding your technicians for getting those reviews and then celebrating them as well, especially in all hands meetings and
Yeah.
just acknowledging the human being that's really working hard and
Big time.
also the hero of the story is the person leaving the review too.
Big time.
Josh, have you done anything kind of different or specific to motivate your team in that way?
Yeah. So a couple of things. One, we have a culture of just celebration. Like we have company group text going on in all of our meetings and training sessions, and we're always talking about reviews. But we take time to explain the story behind the review. And I honor whatever particular technician we're talking about. I get him to share about his experience and what led to the review, right? Because there's a whole backstory that we don't often think about that led to that review. Practically, we incentivize it financially too. For us, $25 per five-star review works. We've done that for years, and it's allowed us to create thousands of good reviews because of it. So yeah, those are the two big things. We motivate through financial, and we motivate through culture.
Awesome. I love that. It's great. Before we move on to the next kind of section, something else that I found really interesting in this survey was that 74% of homeowners said they're researching personal referrals online still before calling, which I think for businesses, a lot of times we say, oh, my most effective channel is word of mouth, or I don't need to focus on marketing as much, or my website doesn't need to be as good because I get everything through word of mouth. And I think this just, reminded me how important your online presence is because they are still searching. Um, so Sarah, maybe you could talk and then maybe Josh jump into like what should businesses be doing to make sure their online presence matches those personal referrals, right? What your best friend says you should use X and then they go online and what should they be seeing to make sure it matches?
Yeah, I think it's that everything aligns, right? Is it consistent? Like is your messaging clear and confident? Does your brand feel consistent everywhere? Because you're right, it's not that referrals they don't end with call this company. That's just the beginning. And then they validate what they find online and they go through all this process of taking the thought to the next level and saying would it fit with my what I need? Are they consistent in their brand? Is their messaging consistent and clear? And what do their reviews look like? Because it's what's really coming is real-time validation, right? Like you're the populate what's going to be populating is hey, this company, the agent thinks that this company has the most reputable being or business entity. And so we're going to recommend this one or maybe four of them. So there's
Yeah.
that.
I think one of the things that Sarah said, Josh, was the consistency of your brand and who you are kind of across things.
Mhm.
So I'm sure you've thought about that as well. How do you make sure that people everywhere they see Embry are, aligned with what you stand for?
Yeah. I was thinking about, so yes, Sarah, that's full of wisdom what you just said. And I would add to it, we spend a lot of time thinking about the story behind the brand. So yes, we make sure all of our colors match. And even though I'm wearing just a simple name tag today, it's still on brand with all of our colors. It matches my truck wraps and all the marketing that we do. But also, I want my customers, when they're researching us, especially when they're considering hiring us, I want them to, in a short matter of time, find our story. I want them to know that we're multiple generations of locally owned and operated. I want them to know that. Why? Because A, people like doing business with local people. And then B, in my market, it's flooded with private equity. Most of my major competitors have sold to private equity, which is from a business perspective, great for them. However, from a competitive perspective, it's been a really big benefit for us because we're able to double down on being the one of the few major players that's still local. And I tell that story through our branding. And so if you go to our website right now, I would hope you would find that in a short order of time, even if you don't know us.
I
I
love
love
that.
that. Jinx.
Jinx.
Okay, the next section we're going to kind of focus on. Sarah and I will try not to say things on at the same time anymore, but kind of speed and convenience, right? With AI search and with just the evolution of marketing, people want things faster and right when they demand it. So, another quick little poll for people, percentage of business owners that said after hours service is a top challenge for them. See if see if we get some responses in here. There's people on here, but
We're gun shy. People are gun shy. I'll tell you, this is certainly a challenge of most trades. It doesn't matter what industry you're in, HVAC, electrical, plumbing, roofing, garage doors, whatever it is, it's definitely a challenge.
Yeah, and I think it's for all businesses, right? Because you want to support people no matter what. And it's hard.
Hmm.
yeah. Okay, perfect. 66 was the percentage, so we did pretty good overall.
Yeah.
Um, you guys were just talking about this a little bit while people are answering, but Josh, kind of how do you manage this expectation where you are providing that kind of every hour service, but while also making sure your team doesn't
Yeah.
feel like they're working
Yeah.
24/7?
This is such a catch 22 because on one hand, we need to be there for our customers essentially 24/7 because nobody plans on having to hire a tradesperson, a trades company in any industry. However, we're not running night shift crews. At least we're not. So when we run after hours calls, it's my same people that have been working all day. So it's an inherent challenge versus other industries that have, night shift, day shift kind of guys. So, what we do, we do answer our phones 24/7 through live answering services. We've been studying AI. We've been studying recently to transition that over to AI because I think that is the future. Practically, though, we're very selective with what after hours calls we do run. It has to be an emergency, no cooling or no heating situation. We're not running any kind of low priority things. We do raise our fees for after hours, and then the increase in the fee goes to as a direct commission to my technician running the call. So that way he or she is financially compensated for the sacrifice. We've found that works for us. My team knows that we're going to be selective with what we do, and that when they do have to run, they're going to be well rewarded for it. So it is a great part of our culture. One more thing. This has been great. This is not scalable though. I have a technician who loves to work on Saturdays and Sundays and then have his weekend during the week. So we do that through the busy season of the year. So that way we can run more emergency calls on the weekends when the average customer is at home. And then
Mhm.
my technician gets off on Mondays and Tuesdays. That's unique because not everybody wants that, but it does work for us.
Yeah. So in those, you're only doing the emergency type calls. How do you handle that from the customer to the CSR perspective of when they think their call is an emergency?
Mhm.
How have you trained your team on how to handle that and make it still beneficial and like build that trust with the customer while
Right.
also not sending someone out?
Sure. Because we also don't want to burn a bridge with the customer. Even if we don't believe it's worth running that night, we want to run it the next day during regular business hours. So we have a lot of empathy because you have to realize to the customer, it is a big deal. Even if to us it's not a big deal, to the customer, it's a big deal. So we empathize with them. And 9 times out of 10, we're able to talk to them over the phone and calm them down. From the start, though, if it's after hours, it's a call center. It's an answering service, so it's not actually us. So then the call center takes that call and sends it over to my on-call technician, and then my on-call technician is the one who navigates the conversation.
Okay, great. Sarah, I'm going to throw one that's not in the outline at you first,
Okay,
but
go for it.
there's the live agent call center option. There's an AI kind of option for a business who's thinking, I'm not sure if I'm at that AI spot or a call center spot. I think there are some, easier automated things they can do just to make sure the customer feels heard. So, what are some things they can do to just make sure that even if they're not responding per se, the customer still feels like they were given some attention?
Okay. If they're not responding, how can the customer, let's think about that question. If they're not responding, I don't think the customer can feel like they're getting attention. So
Well, so
like,
like if an actual human's not, right? Are
oh,
there ways like in Marketing Pro or automations that they could set up that at least gives them a
absolutely. So you can set up SMS missed call campaigns. You can set up that are personalized. And so the message goes out directly. You can set up, I recommend, even if I were to start a business today, and even in businesses that I own, it is automated with AI and has voice agents behind it. Voice agents are, I come from also the customer service background, right? I was a director of a large company, but the what I think people aren't understanding when it comes to voice agents is that the CSR has the most opportunity for manual entry into our database, which is our data. And often that can be convoluted, wrong, misspelled, and it's not someone's fault. It's the way that we just go. And sometimes we don't have the processes and systems. And so with AI, we're going to get a cleaner data set. And all AI will learn off of that data set that you put in to that customer. And so it needs to be very clean. So when I say, hey, I would use voice agents, it's because I know how much my data is worth. And so routing it properly and making sure that my customer is always taken care of, like 24/7, it's not, it used to be, oh, well, that's like a Google qualifier, right? And differentiator, but it's not anymore. Like we expect as a consumer to be able to get a hold of someone and to maybe not even have a conversation, but I'd like to book a call,
Mhm.
right? If I'm calling you, I'm not calling you just to like have a conversation. I'm calling you to see if I can just book a call and get the thing done as a consumer. And working on weekends, like you said, Josh, like the, the money is at on the weekends. The money is going to be off when you're not working from 8 to 5 because I'm home after 5. You want but I don't want you to be here past 7. So it's kind of like a weird time frame, right? As a consumer. So I see all the challenges, but when I think of, hey, how do I move faster? Because money moves with speed. I think about my phones. I think about my data integrity, and I think about how can I make the conversion easier for my customer if I'm not there. So chats like AI and chat, AI and SMS, AI and voice agents. Like there's just using Scheduling Pro, using your there's just so much that you can do without even having to literally pick up the phone.
We love Scheduling Pro. Sarah did not tell me to say this, but we've been using Scheduling Pro over the past 6 months, and it's been a phenomenal experience because historically you had to call us to schedule. That's the old school way. People still do it, but more and more, especially of our generation and younger, I'd prefer to just go online and just schedule it online. I prefer that. The other day I had to book I think it was a dentist appointment, and my dentist didn't allow me to do that, and it was annoying. I had to call them. I didn't want to do that. Like it's just kind of the nature of society these days. So with Scheduling Pro, it allows people to book into our schedule. However, if for whatever reason the schedule doesn't have a spot for them in the manner that they want, we have clear wording. Hey, call us. If you don't see what you want, call us and we can
Yep.
work something out. That's been huge for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's always good too to have that. If this is not how you want to do it, here's your
Yeah.
option to go a different route,
Right.
so that they feel like if it's not working, they can go that way. So, Sarah, I think, we talked about all these different systems you could have. You could have text, you could have an AI chat, you could have voice agents. How can businesses make sure that none of those leads are like falling through the cracks? What should they be thinking about as they build out kind of this tech stack around intake to make sure that nothing's being forgotten?
Yeah, so I would looking at the entire customer journey, right? And I think like a lot of businesses need to take a moment back for a day and follow the customer through the entire journey. So where can there be more automation? Where can there be one system that it works and flows through, right? Because in marketing, just in general, and now with AI, there's even more fragmentation. So you can go and have a wild technology stack, or you can look for that one system that flows all the way through from the marketing to the end result, which is the invoice. And then it starts the whole customer journey back over with a rehash or a nurture, right? And so that's what you're really looking for. You're looking for each part of the journey to ensure that even if like I'm sitting in a call center, they might need a script. How can I get that to them faster? If they're at home, a technician is in the home. Um, what does that experience look like? Are we recording that call to really hear and up level our employees? Like, does that job look like it's about to convert, but maybe needs just one more piece of follow up? Like all of these little tiny moments matter so greatly, and there's so much fragmentation because people are like, well, I'm texting from here, I have a voice agent over here, I have my ads over here. It's just it's so fragmented that it when you have that, you're losing money, you're literally wasting money because everything hits the bottom line. And especially time hits the bottom line, and we really have to think about that. It's not about decreasing people, it's about empowering them to become orchestrators of their job and really understand the efficiency of time.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think too, the worst thing as a customer is going, didn't I already tell you all of this? Like, why are you wasting my time? I already told, I texted to you, then I told someone about it, and now you're asking me again. So yeah, I love the suggestion of make sure you're evaluating the customer journey to kind of see if there's any spots that can be better for them. Josh, you kind of led into this with the Scheduling Pro mention, but I wanted to dive in a little bit deeper. So you added Scheduling Pro, which has helped people book on their own. What made you decide to do that or to try it out? And then also kind of like on a greater scale, how do you evaluate things and if you should be doing them to make them more beneficial to the customer? Like what's your process in going, okay, now we need Scheduling Pro, or maybe we should try this?
Yeah. So oftentimes I find myself making decisions to resolve pain points. So the pain point that I had here was we're growing, we're in a growth season, and my current office staff was starting to get overworked. Like we were missing calls because everybody was on the phone at the same time, and it just we were starting to get into this world of, should we add additional staff? Then, if we do that, though, we're going to increase our overhead significantly, and then thus we're going to need to raise the revenue budget to keep the overhead budget within the parameters of what we want. Enter Scheduling Pro. And we also are on Dispatch Pro as well. So now we're able to do basically relieve the CSR pressure and relieve the dispatching pressure through Service Titan instead of hiring additional people for our team. Is there cost to Scheduling Pro, Dispatch Pro? Sure, but it's a lot less than hiring a whole new team member to be on our team. So now we have this ability to continue to scale our production without putting new employees on the team.
I love that. And you're on the Max program, right? So like
Yes.
really you're leaning into automation and AI
Oh
and efficiency. And I love that you said, it's taking that extra pressure off of the employees
man.
because it does. It's a lot of pressure, especially during a heat wave and in Mobile. Like it's, the
Hmm.
weather is just it's hot, but it's also
Yeah.
like you've got moisture and like all sorts of
Right.
things going on. And so,
Humid. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
that's a
It's
thing.
true.
So I love that you said that. And I think that more business owners will move faster when they think that way of like, I want to evolve people, alleviate my team, also answer the call.
Mhm.
Um, I think that, sometimes we're like, oh, I missed a call. No, you missed revenue.
Correct. Oh my goodness, yes. At a minimum, think about your average ticket. That
That's what
at
I
a
say.
minimum.
Yeah,
But
at a minimum.
then think about how much marketing dollars you spent to generate that call. So now it's a double whammy of lost opportunity. And the other benefit that we've experienced so far in our 5 or 6 months or so of using these products is if you have an employee, you might not always have work for them. Like it kind of comes in waves. Then you have downtime. Then you're trying to figure out how do you minimize the idle time and make them productive. But for pennies on the dollar, we were able to get Scheduling Pro and Dispatch Pro. It's not the same comparison anymore. Now, when the demand spikes, we have products that are there. When the demand is down, we're not having a person that we're trying to keep busy.
That's great. And back to the throwback to the dentist appointment, one of the interesting survey findings was 49% of homeowners said the absence of chat or online booking was a deal breaker for them. So,
Yeah.
the dentist will get there, but
Look, if my dentist is also my neighbor, so I had some
okay.
obligation to use him, but I fussed. I was like, man, you got to get yourself together here. I need to be able to schedule online. But get this, I would fall into that percentile because if I did not have a personal relationship with my dentist, I might have second guessed on if I used him or not because it seems so trivial, but it is the way that society is going.
Yeah. And making a dentist appointment or calling a home services company can feel daunting in the
It
moment, and
can
it's a
because
lot
you don't
easier.
know what you don't know,
Yeah,
right?
and you don't want to do it either. Like we don't want to make a disappointment. We don't want to call a home service company. We do it because we have to.
Mhm.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, we're going to move on to kind of the last section here, which is really around using your data to drive growth. Um, so this question kind of flows back to what we were talking about before, and kind of from the survey, the percentage of homeowners that said they don't mind an AI enhanced intake process. So I think this stat will be a good reminder that people are okay with it. That's a hint.
I'm interested to see the
Oh,
perspective here.
someone took their vote back.
Second guessing it.
Don't second guess it.
Just go with your gut.
Just go with your gut.
There we go.
Because even though we're in the trades here, we're also all customers of other industries and
Yeah.
this affects all industries.
Okay, Josh, put you on the spot. What do you think it is?
So
You saw it, I guess, but
the question is what percentage of people are comfortable with it?
yeah, say they don't mind having an
I would
AI.
say the majority. So let's say 75%.
Okay. Oh, what happened there? That was not right. I something goofed there. It was 65%.
Okay. All right.
So we'll ignore whatever happened here. It was 65. I don't
Yeah.
know
Round it up.
what went awry there, but that's okay.
Yeah.
So 65%, I think, is a great kind of reminder that people are moving in this direction and it's not taking away from the customer experience in a way that they see, right? So and we kind of already touched on this too. You guys jumped ahead on what I was going to talk about, just the lost revenue that you can recover from implementing these things. But Josh, have you seen anything? It's kind of hard to know what you lost if you never knew it existed, but from implementing Scheduling Pro or chat and other things on your site, have you seen an improvement in revenue from that or any like wins from having those functionalities
Yeah.
in place?
I think this is a great question because it goes back to what I was just talking about. We have we're scaling this year, and we've set a top line revenue goal of a 30% growth over last year. So mildly aggressive, depending on who you ask. I'm achieving that without adding additional staff. But for the automation of what we're doing, I would have to have added additional staff. So at a minimum, the savings, if you will, the ROI is the difference between what a full-time employee would cost and what the pro products have costed us at a minimum. I talk to my team a lot and about the value of a call, the value of a phone call, the value of a text message, because it's so easy to minimize that. But we forget, like we talked about earlier, what is our average ticket? What is the average cost of a lead? That's what we're actually losing on average. So it's hundreds and hundreds of dollars when you add all that up.
And I also think that when we think in cost instead of investment, we have a different mindset, right?
Mhm.
And so we have to flip that script just a little bit in our head because you're right, you're not going to add additional people, which,
Right.
you know, hit the bottom line in overhead and a lot of different things. But software is accrued in accounting and amortized. And so, like, it's an investment, it's a compound interest. And so
Mhm.
you really have to reframe your mindset of like, what am I investing in? And am I using that investment to its full potential so
Yeah.
that I don't think of it as a cost because it's actually saving me money in the long run, even if in the near term it feels like an expense until it starts to work. But when
Mhm.
we reshape that mindset as business owners, it's kind of like, oh, like marketing. They'll put that will be the first thing that you decrease, right? When you're like, hey, I am busy, I have whatever, you go straight to marketing. But marketing is an investment too. And so investments are compound interest. And so we really have to reframe our mindset when we go into this new AI world and we go into marketing and understand that the more you take away and the more you think of it as an expense or a cost, the more your team is going to do the same. And so there'll always be this friction between like the software and the person. So that's my advice for that. Like
Yeah.
that's what I
That's
would say.
that is gold. Good.
It's great. Now, Josh, I'm going to throw you on the spot because those are some aggressive growth goals for your team.
Nah,
What,
it's just a number. It's fine.
as you've thought through and made that goal and like planned it out, what have been some of like the key things you've identified that are going to help you reach that
Yeah.
success?
So the first kind of epiphany, if you will, that I had was this is not just a growth of leads. Sure, I've increased the amount of leads that we're going after and we're achieving them through our marketing efforts, but some of this growth has come and is coming from internal improvements. It's increasing lead flip rates, increasing average tickets, decreasing recalls, keeping our overhead in check, and all these kind of things. So when we were building out our budget for this year, or maybe you can call it a business plan, we had all those things in mind. So when we look at this top line revenue goal that equals a 30% growth over last year, it's not just coming from marketing. It's also coming from internal improvement of operations. How do
Awesome.
I,
Are
and how,
you
and then how do you do that? That's the million dollar question. That has come, the results we've seen have come from consistency with training my teams. They know our numbers, they know what we're going for, they know what they need to achieve, and I'm consistently putting that in front of them. But let me tell you this, this is a crucial kind of realization that we had. When we first started building out this plan, I received some pushback from my guys saying, "Oh no, Josh, you're focusing too much on money. You know, it's not all about money, all this kind of thing." It was a short-sighted perspective that we now have overcome because when we found that when our numbers are not aligned where they need to be, more times than not, we're giving the customers a poor experience. We are not solving the problems that they are literally asking us to solve. When we've seen our average tickets go up, we've watched our recalls go down. Why? Because my technicians are finding the problems, and thus we're reasonably charging for them. When our average tickets are down, our recalls are up. Why? Because my technicians are not seeing the full picture of the problem. They're fixing some small part of the problem, but not the whole problem. So whenever we had that mindset shift with my team, they realized, they're trusting us out of hundreds of options to come and solve their problems for us. They want us to solve their problem. They want us to create a good experience, create the value and then charge appropriately for it. It's the win-win.
Yeah,
I love that.
I love that. Yeah, that was great. And I think
Just
people
the
are, real quick, teaching your team their numbers, it's about having them operate as owners,
Hmm.
right? Like, and that means the world to people. And some people it won't. Some people will be like,
Sure.
math is hard. Like, this is like I'm chasing something, but you're not. Like, we're all in it for one goal, and we're all in it to serve the customer. And so knowing these
Wow.
numbers will help you operate at such a high level, it will take everyone with you. And I think
Right.
that's the cool part. So great job for that.
Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you.
And I loved the they want us to solve their problems, which
Yeah.
sometimes we forget about. Like that is the end all be all, which is
Yeah.
so great.
Yeah.
Um, so Sarah, one of the things, and I'm gonna have Josh answer this after as well, but marketing investment, we talked about this, right? It's really hard. It can be hard to add attribution into that of what's actually working from your marketing strategy and what you should be doing more of and how that's turning into actual revenue for your business. So, what should businesses be doing to make sure that they know what they're spending on marketing and the results that are actually happening?
I mean, again, this is where fragmentation comes into play, right? You have different systems, different uh, realities from the different systems and different numbers. And so one source of truth to flow through the entire existence makes the most sense. However, there will always be attribution opportunities in any system because, again, if you have a call center, they can change the attribution. And if you have a voice agent, then the attribution will stay. So it's about knowing who's entering the data, understanding if the data is, it will always have a slight deviation, but also understanding how to bring it in to one system instead of having fragmented systems as much as possible, because that fragmentation again is just gonna, it's wasted spend, it's wasted money. And you really, from a business perspective, you want to know where the money goes because that's where the money flows.
Definitely. So, Josh, being a ServiceTitan and a Scorpion customer, we have an integration that helps kind of connect that dot between marketing and the end invoice. How has having that kind of continued data throughout changed how you look at marketing?
It's made marketing less mysterious. I still remember the day when Scorpion made that update, if you will, because I've been a client of Scorpion for a long time, and when I first joined Scorpion, and I've been a client of Service Titan for a long time, that integration didn't exist. And so Scorpion could show leads that they got, but they couldn't show the end result of the lead. And now that they do, I'm still blown away by it because it's literally accountability. Because you can create tons of leads, but they might not be worth anything. And Scorpion proves that the leads that they're producing for you are valuable and there's a dollar amount. Here's the end result. And then you can, if it's not what you need it to be, you can assess with intelligence what's the problem. Is it an internal operation problem? Maybe it's an average ticket issue or whatever it is. Or is it a quality of lead problem? So I'm a big fan and I love the transparency of it.
Yeah.
How often are you looking at those like marketing metrics? Do you
Yeah.
guys sit down on a certain cadence to kind of go through and see
Mhm.
if there are operational problems or other
Yeah.
issues?
At a minimum weekly. I do have a marketing director that lives in it every day, but I'm reviewing it weekly from my perspective.
Awesome. It's great. Um, Sarah, kind of to finish this out, one of the things that I think we sometimes lose sight of is that there's also a lot of revenue to generate from past customers or the customers already in your database and to increase that lifetime value. So how can the trades kind of have a focus on that and continue getting more revenue from the leads that they already paid for essentially?
Yeah, your existing customers are a gold mine. And really understanding that when you look at their personas, you look at the time frames, and they have different marketing messages for those time frames and what they did and didn't do inside of your business. And honestly, instead of looking for the new shiny all the time, go back into your database and start to really say, okay, those that have not had service within 6 to 12 months, they are due for service. Like it's not we need to get back into their home. And when we think with urgency and we think with care in our the way that we develop audiences of our existing behavior, our customers, then it becomes not a, hey, I'm here, here's my promo, here's this. Like, we need to be in your home. We need to take care of you. It's a different mindset, it's a different shift, but literally your existing customers are a gold mine of just money all over the place. And it's money in job types that you did service, job types that you did not service, things that you did not install, new home predictive maintenance items, like that's really the future. So there's so much to provide a solution for their problems when we might have left their problems on the table, and
Hmm.
only solved one of them. Because sometimes when a technician goes out and they're like, yeah, okay, you booked a tune up, they'll go in and be like, this is just the tune up. And in training, you have to say, okay, no, I need to see the whole home and see
Yeah.
what's going on in the home. And I don't get to make the decision for the customer. The customer gets to make the decision if I give them the options. And so
Mhm.
sometimes that doesn't happen. And so we as marketers can give them more options when we leave the home. That's just another way to get around them. So really thinking about, okay, how many leads am I chasing versus how many leads do I actually have that I'm just not, I
So,
just didn't convert.
so good. Something else we talk a lot about on our team is our ability to communicate and connect with the customer directly impacts their quality of life. Because if we communicate poorly and fumble the conversation in some capacity, they're less likely to use us to hire us to solve their practical problem. And thus, their quality of life is impacted and harmed by it because they still have that problem, but they didn't have confidence in us, even though we know what we're doing and my technician has, the great mechanical skill set to solve the problem. The customer felt unsure. So something we've been doing a lot lately is we also have Field Pro, one of the Service Titan products, and it records conversations and uses AI to coach my technicians on not mechanically, but how they handled the conversation. It's been a eye-opening experience because it records the objections the customers give, and then it records the response that my technician gave, and it coaches them accordingly. Something we just started doing yesterday was we also started using the Field Pro summaries in my office. So as my office is following up on unsold estimates before they do, they're reviewing the Field Pro transcript to see how the conversation went between the technician and the customer. It's been great.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. There's a lot of data and information that you can use to benefit you. You just got to be able to figure out how to use it and make sure it gets done.
Right.
Awesome. Well, we're running out of time. Just wanted to throw up a quick QR code here if anyone wants to download the report where a lot of this data came from. This is just that survey that Scorpion did earlier this year. And then also, if anyone has any questions that they'd like to ask Sarah or Josh or myself, you can drop those in the Q&A kind of section. We'll give everyone a minute to see if anyone has any questions, and then we'll wrap up for the day. Sarah, Josh, I just wanted to say thank you so much for joining me in this great conversation. You both have great insights, and it's always great to hear kind of what you're doing. We are going to be sharing this recording. It'll get sent out later today or tomorrow, and there will also be a quick survey following. So once the recording ends, that'll pop up too. If everyone could take that, just so we can get your thoughts. Um, and if anyone has any other questions, I'll give it another minute. But thank you. Excited to hear all the success you're seeing, Josh, and all the cool stuff you're doing at Service Titan Sarah. So thank you so much, everyone, and have a great day.
Thank you all. It's been fun. Until
Thank
next
you.
time.